Welcome back and happy Tuesday. Another great week, another great guest. This week, I found this incredible guest perusing LinkedIn of all places and was blown away by her career and what she's done. So I'm so happy to introduce you to Becky Center, who is the CEO of Indiegogo. So Becky, thanks so much for being here.
Hi, Scarlett, and hi, Tech Tuesday audience. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So, okay, obviously, we know your current role now, so we're going to talk a little bit about crowdfunding. Surprise, surprise. The world, the investment world in particular is a little bit in flux with what's happening at the macroeconomic level, but in general, there has been a lot of institutional money flowing for tech companies, for big products. Why is crowdfunding still so valuable in your eyes? And are there specific demographics or groups that you think it's most valuable for?
Great question. And thank you again for having me to talk about this. When we look back at crowdfunding, what we see is a few different trends. I would say compared to the institutional funding that you're talking about, a lot of our entrepreneurs are in either a different category, a different space, or a type of business that might not typically suit your typical VC or financing route. So what that means is we've got filmmakers who want to make a short. We've got someone who's producing a game, or we have quite a few tech and hardware products, but this is they're only making one product, or this is their first thing they're making. So it's not necessarily a huge business that's investable yet at that stage. It might not have the TAM or the metrics that someone would be looking for. So sometimes it's just a different category, a different TAM. It could be more of a lifestyle business. Like you might be someone who's just supporting your passion. I say just, but I don't mean just, because I actually think it's really, really important. You're supporting your passion or your audience base, and whatever is kind of big enough for you is big enough for crowdfunding. But that doesn't always make it, like when we talk about Series A, Series B kinds of rounds, maybe you're not there yet. Now, what's really interesting is have some people who are successful with their crowdfunding campaign, and they are able to use that to get going and to build something and to have really proof of concept that there's an audience and a customer base and real volume and real revenue. They then go on and do more traditional financing.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So when you have an amazing background, Groupon and a bunch of other really cool brands, when you got under the hood of all this world of crowdfunding, what surprised you most? Anything that you really want to highlight?
The thing that surprised me is the variety of what's on here. The passion and the stories. I think what's so interesting about crowdfunding is it's about the idea and the merit of the idea, but people also care about who's behind it. And there's this authenticity that's really beautiful. What is your story? Why did you want to do it? What are your challenges? And I think when our campaigners or our entrepreneurs are really like upfront and transparent and maybe more vulnerable, they actually do better and they resonate more. So that's been really interesting. Another thing is I just saw something literally this morning, an article that was showing that women-owned crowdfunding campaigns tend to do better than men. And I think my hunch is that it's a lot about this like storytelling and vulnerability. It gives kind of a forum and a voice to people who might not otherwise have had the comfort or the access or even think of themselves as entrepreneurs. One thing that I'm trying to do, I'm actually trying to like broaden our perspective of what is an entrepreneur. So I was talking earlier about filmmakers and about artists. And to me, they're 100% entrepreneurs, even if they don't get up and put on a business suit every day, but they're out there being creative, taking risks, and building their business by following their passion. So it's just been really fun to see that journey and to follow along and to learn all of the different nuances that go into it.
I love what you were saying around the authenticity and passion piece. It was really interesting. I was moderating a session at the Cannes Lion Film Festival, sorry, the Cannes Lion Festival back in June last um, month. And we were talking a lot about the creator economy naturally. And this idea that like for a long time, because this is the market, the audience is like primarily marketers, they were sitting there and they were focusing on like mass amount versus smaller segments of like hyper passionate, hyper loyal. And so that's why it's not surprising me that it makes sense, maybe, from a gender perspective or others, that like the people who are the most authentic and the most passionate would have a better chance for success. Speaking of success, one of the things that I loved reading in your Q&A was how much time that you spend actually with these entrepreneurs. There's a lot of people on the platform doing a lot of different interesting projects and companies and whatever else. I know you're only a few months in, but are there any tips and tricks for what makes a successful campaign from the eyes of the CEO?
Absolutely. This is something I've learned quickly, and my team has now known for a while, but your launch, your first day of a crowdfunding campaign is really key. And so there's a lot of prep work that goes into it ahead of time. So you can go on and create a page and launch a campaign instantly, very quickly. But if you want to be the most successful, you have to do some prep work ahead of time. You have to build up your audience base. So we recommend a lot of social media and outreach, and get your followers and get some like pre-validation that you're going to stick, so that when you go launch, you can reach out to this group right away and say, hey, build up some suspense, and then have this big launch. And that helps carry your momentum throughout the campaign. So it's as easy as sign up and go, but the people who put a little more thought and time into it, they're the most successful. Maybe not surprisingly, but that pre-phase is really important.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. It's putting the effort in ahead of time, and then day one, some people think, oh, it's just the first day, we'll get the second, third, or fourth, but it sounds like you have the data to support. Day one is very important.
Yeah, you want to build that momentum like quickly, and there's a lot of viral effects. So you go out and you get a lot of backers right away. They share because it is the type of thing people like to share, and people feel good about supporting and bringing their friends and their network along, and that amplifies. So that's just really important.
Awesome. All right, Becky. Well, so many great things there. Love that tip. I certainly didn't know that. So I will keep that in mind. And there's for all of you. So thank you so much for your time. And for all of you, lots more about Becky's background on the Q&A. So please, as always, read below. And if you have questions, comments, put them there. I'd love to see them. Until next week.
Thank you. Bye.